Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very brief. I know all of you well. You know me, and you know my background's constitutional law. I'm going to concede to you that I was one who was slow to come to this conclusion to support the idea of the Convention of States, because I, too, my initial reaction was, what about the Runaway Convention and some of the questions that have been asked? But I've been reading and studying on this for the last year or so, actually longer than that. And I have come to the conclusion that this is me personally, just for what it's worth to you as my colleagues. I do believe now that this is the only measure that we have to limit the expansive growth and increasing encroachment of the federal government, particularly the executive branch. No matter who is the next president, we're now on this course, this precedent where the executive powers have been expanded so broadly, and the Congress is no longer doing its job to be the firewall of protection against that. Our system of checks and balances is breaking down. And we once might have said, well, we can rely on the federal courts to limit that. But increasingly, the federal courts have become very political. I'm telling you that from firsthand experience, because I've been out there for 20 years litigating these cases, First and Second Amendment cases in the courts. And oftentimes they are making law from the bench rather than calling it fairly and squarely as an umpire. So Justice Scalia was one of the people that I greatly respected as an intellect on the court, as a constitutional scholar. I was in a small group gathering with him about 2 years before he passed. We were in Washington. It was a group of about 30 constitutional law litigators and scholars. And we had about an hour with him to just Q&A. Very informal. And someone asked the early question in this dialogue, they raised their hand and they said, Justice Scalia, what about states' rights? What about the 10th Amendment? And he balked and sort of came down really hard on the person who asked the question, and he said, what a joke. States' rights is over. And I'm like, wow, this is Justice Scalia. Like, you're my hero. You're supposed to be standing for states' rights. And he went on to explain his view that many of these constitutional principles, the bedrock fundamental principles of the Republic, have gone by the wayside. And he was a proponent of a limited convention, not an open convention, but a limited convention on a limited call like this, because he believed himself that it was the only way that we could check this expansive federal power where they've usurped the authority that is supposed to be given to the people. So for what it's worth, and I don't want to have some long debate. I know you guys are going to be here a long time. I'm open to talk with you about it individually anytime that you wish, but I really believe, I've come to the conclusion that this is the right thing to do. It's the only thing that we can do right now, I think, to fix this problem. So I just wanted to weigh in on that, and appreciate the time, Mr. Chairman.
We only have one Congress. We have 50 state legislatures, and we have the power to rein them in.
Founding Fathers put an article in. It's called Article 5.
We've been blessed. Our founders knew that our federal government would get out of control.
We don't have to repeat history. Here's Article 5. States, take back your power.
This is an opportunity.